Welcome to The Awareness Angle, your weekly dose of security awareness news, where we look at the cybersecurity news topics and give you the awareness angle on those. Joining me, as always, is Luke. Hello, Luke.
Hey, everyone.
You good?
Yeah, well, good. You?
I'm good. Yeah, very good. Thank you. So, bits and bobs to go through this week. It is our 10th episode, so we've made it to episode number 10, which is really exciting. The other big news this week is we were trending in Costa Rica. So we were the second biggest tech news podcast in Costa Rica. So if anyone's listening in Costa Rica, hello, hope you're well. Give us a shout. We'll give you a shout out. We'd really love to know who's been listening. So that's amazing. Right, we've got usual bits to go through this week. We've got some news. We've got an update on the Google Ads that we spoke about. We've got some stuff around Siri and Apple Intelligence. And we've got some cool awareness stories. So if you're working in the awareness field, this will be a good episode for you to listen to. And once we get past the news, there's some interesting bits for you there. So let's crack on with it. The news. Luke, you're going to kick us off this week.
Yeah, let's get into it. So back into Google Ads, the malicious Google Ads, our favourite thing.
It still amazes me that this was actually a thing. So if you haven't listened, 2 episodes ago, yeah, it wasn't the last one, it was the one before, there was some Google Ads. Luke was looking for Google Ads. So he searched Google Ads. The top result was Google Ad, which is a premium listing. And when you click on that, it took you through to a website. We found it whilst we were recording the podcast that this was still active. I found it. It was still live. So we went through and looked at the site, and it actually turned out that it was Sydney Zoo that was advertising. So we assumed that their Google Ads account had been compromised. Luke, this is like an update on that from what I believe, is it?
Yeah, so is it exactly that, which is, the fake sponsored advert was there to sort of lure people in, think it's the legitimate website, and log in to their Google Ads account. But basically, these malicious people were using that to take their credentials to then host more malicious adverts. And that's obviously what happened with Sydney Zoo, where whether they or a third party that manages their Google Ads had done that and accidentally entered their credentials into a fake login screen.
Wow.
And
that's crazy. That is. So from the looks of it, there was lots and lots of companies that were affected.
Yeah, it seems to be, a lot of people. Obviously that advert was up for quite a while. As we saw, it was still live when we were talking about it.
So funnily enough, I had someone reach out to me who has a family member that works at Sydney Zoo. So I was in a conversation with them on LinkedIn, sent them some details, which is great. I've since reached out. I haven't heard back because I haven't got LinkedIn Premium. It costs way too much money. But I messaged a couple of people on LinkedIn and sent them the details. You can see all of this yourself because I was asked by the guy on LinkedIn, I was asked by Michael how we discovered it, basically. And Google has a thing called ad transparency. So on any paid for ad, you can go and see who the advertiser is, and then you can see their other adverts. And you can still, I didn't realize you could do this, but you can still do this for the Sydney Zoo one. So there's a link that I've passed on to Michael that hopefully he can share. And you can see Sydney Zoo was actually advertising Google Ads, but it was going to Google's own site. So like a Google site. So
that was the other thing was they said that the malicious ad activity doesn't violate Google Ads rules because it was a subdomain of Google, which is obviously the malicious site was originally hosted on a Google site, and then it would send you on to the malicious domain to log in, which was a bit of an own goal. That was such a simple check.
I've seen something like this before, and I'm just trying to think what it was. It was like a phishing campaign sent out using Gmail that you couldn't block because it was coming through a Gmail mail delivery service or something like that. I can't remember.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
There was another story as well, some of the same sort of thing, wasn't there? Homebrew.
Yes.
That package. So they'll
package manager, isn't it?
open source package manager for like Linux and Mac OS. And so they had a same sort of thing where a sponsored ad for Homebrew was posted, which obviously took people to a malicious website with instructions on how to install this package manager. But obviously it was a manipulated version where it installed malware alongside the real thing. So you probably think, this is legit. It's installed what I was looking for, but deep down it's installed some malware on your machine. So sponsored ads are quite dangerous.
It's quite funny. We found this, you found this before it hit the news. I feel like we kind of broke the news on this almost.
Yeah. Maybe someone listening saw it.
It's it's mad. But it goes to show, like, you can't. You have to verify, check, even things like Google saying it doesn't break their terms or whatever because it's going to a Google site. That's not okay. That's like, no. I don't. Surely the fact that someone was able to spoof Google themselves, that's not okay. They can put a check. They don't care. They're too big to care. That's the problem. Probably. If Google, you're listening, please don't. We use Google. Like, don't. We didn't mean to upset you. That's interesting. So check the results, check your search results, verify the website, verify the URL. Just avoid Google ads. Like, I know, like, people need it to generate business and Google need it to make money, but it's you can't trust them. Like, no, because that looked really legit as well. It looked really genuine.
Yeah, the website that you land on. And obviously, you see sites.google.com, and if you're not clued up on it, you probably won't even have noticed. No,
you'd see google.com and you'd just think it was legitimate. It's, it shouldn't be allowed. Yeah, so, yes, and if anyone from Sydney Zoo is listening, I've tried contacting you. If you've got any questions, reach out to us. hello@riskycreative.com. And we'll tell you what we know, but you can probably find it out yourself. So, yes. Okay.
Cool.
My turn. Okay. This week, I saw a post. Well, actually, about a week ago. I think I saw this just after we recorded the last episode. So this is a little bit of old news, but I haven't seen loads of noise about it. So Lisa Plagemeyer from National Cybersecurity Alliance, she reposted something on LinkedIn, and it was the post reads, "Hey Apple, what the actual F?" Let me just share this on the screen as well. So if you are watching if you watch us on YouTube, you get to see this in all its glory. If you're not watching on YouTube, then I'll explain it for you. So get comfy. So we get this message. This message has been shared by Heidi Sass, and it says, "Last night our phones were opted in by default to allow them to learn from our apps, almost all of them." So what this is, Apple Intelligence. If you go to settings on your phone, I'm going to do this while we're on here. And if you're listening and you've got your phone in your hand, you can do this as well. So under settings, right down at the bottom of settings, you've got apps. And now if you click on that's a list of all of your apps and the settings for those apps. You click on any one, BBC iPlayer, for example. The top result is Apple Intelligence and Siri. If I click on Apple Intelligence and Siri, learn from this app, and it's enabled. Allow Siri to learn from how you use BBC iPlayer to make suggestions across apps. So Apple's just scraping up even more data. I suppose it needs it, right, to make a better product. And without data, they can't make a better product. But it's on by default. And I don't think they told anyone it was happening. So it's a little bit crafty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems to be a common thing where things are turned on by default without saying anything, and then people find this out. You think people would learn by now, but
you had this on a tool that we used, don't you? Which is
Yeah.
like great tool. It's only a small tool, great tool, but the AI was on by
Yeah,
default.
the AI features were on by default, which obviously you don't want in a corporate business where all kinds of information could be being sent off and being trained on. So yeah, it's definitely one to look out for, especially with like the influx of AI being added to apps and stuff.
I think I've said it before. If you develop software or you own a service and you're introducing AI, please consider the impact it has on organizations. Please make it optional. Turn it on by default, but please build a switch where it can be turned off. And, I know a message on this for a lot of businesses could be, if an app you have used every day for the last how many years all of a sudden says it's got AI features, those AI features probably need to be reviewed, and T's and C's probably need to be reassessed, and contracts might need to be renegotiated. So, allow people to come forward, tell them how to come forward, and tell them why, because who knows what happens with all that data, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right, so that was that one, and I think that's all I have for the news this week. I did have one more thing, actually. There's one I've just seen, and we'll share this. So this is an article that I saw in HelpNet Security, and it's called Scam Yourself Attacks. So that's how social engineering is evolving. And we've entered a new era where verification must come before trust. So a scam yourself attack, it perfectly captures the deceptive nature implemented by this attack method. Unlike Nigerian prince and windfall inheritance emails or fake antivirus pop-ups, which are all like really, standard spots now, scam yourself attacks are much more subtle. So imagine encountering a captcha that looks completely normal, a routine browser update, or even a helpful tech tutorial that tells you to perform some actions. Nothing unusual, right? Yet, that seemingly harmless interaction could be a carefully crafted trap. These scams manipulate users into triggering malicious actions themselves. So, this essentially sounds very much like... So let me just see. Ever clicked accept on a prompt without reading it? Attackers, we know, trust routine system requests, fake captchas, or urgent update alerts, trick users into executing malicious code. Overload can be a hacker's best friend, so complex instructions, technical jargon, or multiple steps can push users into blindly following directions. A fake Microsoft warning or a phony Google alert can feel legitimate, and messages like critical update required or respond immediately to avoid account suspension ignite panic. So I'm reading this and I don't see any new scam. It doesn't actually say that there's a new scam, and these all sound like age-old kind of phishing techniques: fear, uncertainty, doubt, threat. And it's these scams are purposely designed to deeply ingrain psychological this is there's not a lot in this news article, but it is a nice reminder to, all of these things they mention, urgent updates, the way that people are feeling about it. Don't pressure them. If they're feeling pressured into doing something, just pause. Blinded by the tech is another thing to remember. Fake warnings. You and me have spoken about fake antivirus warnings from Chrome extensions and stuff like that. That's something we can cover at some point, probably. So I'll put a link to this in the newsletter. There's not a lot to take from it, but it is a nice reminder of some of the things that we can mention to end users. Oh, newsletter. Let me tell everyone about the newsletter. If you want to know what's in the podcast every week, then you could subscribe to the Awareness Angle newsletter. Luke, do you subscribe to the Awareness Angle newsletter?
I do indeed.
Excellent.
Lands in my inbox every Monday morning.
Yes. 6 o'clock UK time every Monday morning. the Awareness Angle newsletter lands in inboxes, and it is also available on LinkedIn. We've got over 300 subscribers now, and it gives you a breakdown of the things we cover in each show, sometimes a little bit more, and it gives you the awareness angle on those. And it goes with every podcast episode that's released also at 6 a.m. GMT on all good podcast platforms and YouTube. Excellent. Yeah. Right, moving on today. Awareness. Should we talk about some awareness stuff?
Yeah, got quite a few things here, I think.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. So we got a message a while ago now from Brian Miller. Hello, Brian. And Brian asked about organisational communication and security culture challenges. So the common challenges organisations face when trying to communicate effectively about security and foster a strong security culture. So Brian mentions mixed messages, how unclear and inconsistent communication can confuse employees, siloed teams, poor collaboration between departments and how it creates barriers, employee engagement, why employees feel disconnected from policies, how do we gain their buy-in, and measuring success, how do we measure security culture over time. So that's like, I think Brian's envisaged that's a whole episode, and it kind of feels like one.
Sounds like it will be, yeah.
But we can take a couple of these. We could dive into these more in a future episode, but we could take a couple of these now and just kind of see what we can do. So inconsistent or unclear communication can confuse employees and undermine security initiatives. I think consistency is key, don't you?
Yeah, definitely like reinforcing some messages consistently, like whether it's an email or messaging you on Slack or Teams or something. But yeah, I can see like picture it from the user's sort of view and use a bit more of a simple terminology and something they'll understand, and give instructions in a clear way, make sure they're accurate as well.
I think that's you. The one thing there you said was like summed it up completely. See it from their point of view. And I think that's what makes a great awareness professional. I think not everyone could do awareness. You need a certain kind of mindset, and a great awareness professional might not be a great analyst or great engineer, but there is a certain amount of empathy needed, and you need to be able to see it from other people's perspectives, and being consistent as in not just the message, but the tone of voice, the
cadence and
the cadence. Exactly. It's almost all part of we've spoken about brand before. We haven't done this. We have got a piece we're working on branding that we'll probably share at one point if I can get it to a state where we're happy with it. But it's all part of brand, like brand voice, brand values, brand approach. So treating your InfoSec communication as part of a brand, I think is really important. And I think it's something we've done. And we've had immense success with it. Yeah. Great engagement, great. People read it, and it took time to get there. But when you find your voice and you find that it works, I think that's great. And it'll be different in every organisation. Different in a legal firm. It's going to be very different to a new tech startup, because legal firms will be much more straight, much more narrow, and you could probably have a bit. I've never worked in a legal firm, so I could be completely wrong, but I'm assuming that a legal firm would be a very professional, probably, whereas a new tech startup can probably be like beer pong and something. I don't know. Yeah. So
that definitely helps sell itself at that point. If you've got a strong brand that's easily recognizable, and always use some kind of branding for various different things, I think it really helps. Yeah. Especially if someone sees it again, they instantly recognize.
Yeah. I think the other good thing with that is you've got to own. I think it's good to try and own all the messaging as well. So if you've got auto responses that go out from a tech team, anything that is associated with security, get eyes on. See if you can be in control of it, or you can own it, or at least reword it to make it more impactful. Because awareness, if you work in awareness, the chances are you're probably the best communicator in your function. Probably 9 times out of 10. Brian, we'll go over the rest of those questions, and I think we'll cover them in another episode.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, we'll go into that in a bit more detail in a future episode. Thank you for that. We've got here talking about some AI tools. We had a conversation on this before we came to air, and I've forgotten exactly what we said. But there was, I saw a post this week that Maxime Cartier from Hoxhunt shared on LinkedIn today, actually, Thursday. And he was asking if you use AI in your awareness program, AI tools. And if you do, what do you use it for? So, like AI keeps evolving, right? We've looked at tools 2 years ago that are very different today. Everything keeps changing. And that's the point he makes. So he lists a number of tools. And then one tip he makes is if you've checked these tools 6 or 12 months ago, check again. Because obviously AI is improving so fast that the tools, if a tool was like, all that time ago, it's probably a lot more effective and a lot better now. So I'll just read through the tools that Maxime says he uses. And Maxime, yes, he works for Hoxhunt now, but Maxime used to do security awareness for H&M. So he's been on our side of the fence, if you know what I mean. He knows what it's like. He's not just a vendor or salesperson. So the first one that he recommends is a tool called PictoChart, which is an infographics, presentations, report, and posters tool, which looks pretty cool. So PictoChart creates professional-looking infographics in just a few seconds. He's got another one here called Suno. Let me bring this up. Suno is a AI music song creation tool.
Right.
Where you give it, should we do this now? A dream pop, don't know where that came from, song about a security podcast called The Awareness Angle.
It's going to be our new theme song or jingle.
It wants me to create an account, so let me just hand over my soul, bear with me. And, oh no, it does. I wonder if it'll let me do this for free. Let's find out, shall we?
Yeah. I think a tool like that's pretty good, especially if it gives you like the rights to, well, I guess it probably does give you the rights to use it internally and non-commercially, probably. I guess there's probably different levels to it, but
you'd hope, wouldn't you?
Having some songs for your awareness videos is really good because it's always hard to find a good sort of free source or something that works. But
yeah,
let's see what this puts out.
So a dream pop song about a security podcast called The Awareness Angle. You can have 200 characters in there. So I could have put the hosts are Luke and Anthony, and it's every week, Monday morning.
I'm looking forward to what this comes out like.
Well, it appears to have given me 2.
Floating through the digital haze, catching whispers in the maze, stories weaving through the night, guiding us with spectral.
I'm going to pause that there because it's quite loud.
Let's get into the chorus.
A dream pop song about a. Let's see. Can I fast forward to the chorus? I bet I can't. I shouldn't have done that. Hang on. About a cybersecurity podcast called The Awareness Angle. It's hosted by Luke and Anthony. Let's go for an upbeat pop song. Electro. Give me a theme.
Yeah, electric pop or electric pop. Or...
There we go. Perfect. Create. Let's do that. An upbeat electric pop song about a cybersecurity podcast called The Awareness Angle. It's hosted by Luke and Anthony.
I like what little thumbnails it's made.
Yeah.
Very fitting.
It's like a matrix shield. It's like a circuit board with a shield in the middle that's glowing in neon if you're not watching.
Luke and Anthony telling tales so neat. Cyber tricks that make you jump out of your seat. Every episode's a brand new beat. Guard your data, don't get caught in the heat. Hackers trying, but they're way too slow. With the awareness angle, you'll always know. Stay one step ahead in the cyber
It's incredible.
Show. Tune in, let's get this flow. Click that link, but it felt so wrong. Pause the vid, but I'm staying strong. Luke and Anthony teaching all along. Cyber safety to keep us going on.
I'm so impressed.
Yeah, I love it. It's definitely our new theme song.
There's another one.
It's the same lyrics.
Oh, it's the same lyrics, but a different song.
Luke and Anthony telling tales so neat.
No, it's not as good
Cyber
as the
tricks
other
that
one.
make you jump out.
I prefer the other one. Did you prefer that one?
No, the other one was much
The other
better.
one? Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's incredible.
So you get, by the looks of it, you get 8 free version 4 songs, and then I suppose it downgrades you to version 3, which probably isn't. Version 3.5. It sounds so good, though. I mean, you could use that. Yeah, if you've got an engaged workforce, you could use that to make a song about something.
Yeah, like
so I think that's
fun song to share about a topic.
yeah. The next tool that Maxime recommends is Synthesia or HeyGen. So we've looked at both. We've used HeyGen in anger. If you want to see examples of videos we've used on HeyGen, go to the Risky Creative YouTube page. There's a video in there called Likeness as an element of that, where we've used HeyGen to get me speaking in a different language. And it uses AI to move my lips as if I was speaking. So they match the language that I'm speaking. So HeyGen's really cool. We bought HeyGen.
Impressive.
Yeah, we bought HeyGen because we made a lot of video content, and we wanted to deliver that video content to our colleagues in different countries. So short 2-minute video, chuck it into HeyGen. HeyGen just translates it, and it's really good. We had people check it out in Poland, and again over a year ago now, and they said it was really good then, and it would have only got better since.
Yeah, we did share it with a few other areas of the world as well, because obviously it does a lot of languages.
Yeah,
Does a very good job. Yeah, definitely.
If you need to reach colleagues in far-flung places and not everyone speaks English, then a tool like HeyGen, it uses 11 Labs for the voice work, which again, 11 Labs is another voice tool. There's one here that Maxime hasn't mentioned actually, which we've used before, which was called Play HT, and that was we use that to create voice clones as an example of voice phishing. Sending like fake WhatsApp messages, and it was really, really good. Yeah, doesn't work with me. Yeah. Makes me sound Australian. Always has. Don't know why. But if you've got a more traditional English voice, then I think it works quite well. But if you've got kind of a regional dialect, it probably isn't as good. And the other one Maxine mentions is ChatGPT. And you're probably the person to talk about using ChatGPT in awareness because you're a pro user. Well,
I wouldn't say a pro, but I've been using it.
He's got a license. He's got a premium license.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a good tool to have in your arsenal, I think, especially as for what we do. So you can obviously use it to summarize something you've written or a large piece of text. It can analyze the data, read PDFs and all sorts of things there. But yeah, we use it a fair bit to just sort of double check a piece of writing to sort of make sure it's clear enough, or if it could ask it if it could be clearer. Obviously, sometimes it gets a bit carried away and makes things a bit excitable and adds in a few buzzwords, but you can obviously tell it, and it learns a lot from what you do there. But I mean, that's just touching the surface of what it can be used for. So definitely one to check out, provided you can use it in your business and stuff.
Obviously, get permission from your organisation if you're going to put any confidential data in there. You need to get like an agreement in place, and again, you need to know what's going to happen with that data. So be very careful. I have used ChatGPT as a sounding board for ideas. If you find yourself looking at a blank screen trying to come up with something creative, you can bounce off it.
Skeleton and asking it for 10 ideas.
Yeah,
and stuff, and you can definitely get a few.
The best way to weaponize it, I've seen people do this, and it's ask me questions. Ask me 6 questions to help me answer this problem. Blah 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 blah, and then it will come back and go, "What is this? What is that? What is this?" And then you answer the questions, and then it will tell you. I was actually asking it about DMARC and DKIM last night because someone reached out to us and said that our newsletter didn't have DMARC enabled. And that was a conscious choice because we don't send 5,000 emails daily, nowhere near that at the moment. But the whole thing around, it was like the correct, write a DMARC statement for me and where should I put it and what does it look like and stuff like that. It can help with all of that. So double check, verify, always verify.
Yeah, no, it's really good as well. Like, obviously you can tell it to act as a professional something or experience something, and it gives you obviously a bit more of an accurate result, perhaps.
Yes.
And I've used it for helping me with some Google Sheet formulas and stuff like that. It can do all sorts really. Obviously, people use it to help them code, and
I had to write a 1-pager. So I was writing basically an issue with NIS2 and CEOs and execs not necessarily really engaging with training because training is long and laborious and their time is valuable. But NIS2 obviously states that execs and non-execs and etc. have to be trained. So I used ChatGPT to help me come up with the content for a 1-pager educational document on NIS2. And you can ask it to change the tone and, change bits. What I would say though, is there's certain giveaways on anything that ChatGPT outputs quite often. It could be, like you said, very fluffy, very colourful words that it loves to use. Or it could be double hyphens, which are a giveaway.
Emojis as well. Sometimes it likes to throw in emojis.
If you ask it to write a LinkedIn post, it will look like an AI-generated LinkedIn post. And there's people on LinkedIn that say they hate AI. You can kind of tell it. And now I'm afraid to use emojis in anything. But then everything you read about LinkedIn says use emojis. So it's really tough. Yeah. But it's good. I was trying to come up with a friend of mine was starting a new business, and we're using it to brainstorm company names and give me some words that are from this origin and mean trust and mean privacy, that kind of thing. And it can give you like random words, and then you can take one of those and dig deeper. So that's cool. That's enough about AI.
Yeah.
Maxime's post, I'll include it in the newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter at riskycreative.com or find me on LinkedIn. Next, I have got to promote a webinar that I'm on. I am co-hosting a webinar for Layer 8. If you aren't familiar with Layer 8, they are a company based in the UK that help organizations with their champions, network security champions. So they are the experts in security champion communities. So they've invited me to be a guest speaker at one of their webinars, which is focusing on champions, and it's the 6 critical success factors of a great security champions program. So we've done a lot of work on security champions, and it's really, really exciting. One of the biggest things I think with security champions for me is seeing how excited the champions get and how engaged they get. It really, really surprised me, but they love it. Like, not all of them. Some of them are quiet and just observing, but some people really, really get passionate about it. And it's like, it's having like it's like having a territorial army of security people in your business. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
No, it's good to hear their sort of, their ideas and giving their voice and bouncing ideas around and getting feedback from them as well is really, really good.
Sarah knows her stuff. Sarah from Layer 8 knows her stuff when it comes to champions. So if you have a champions network, if you've always wanted one, if you're part of one, or you are interested more to find out what they are, Thursday, the 13th of February, 3:00 GMT. Come along. You can find it on Layer 8's LinkedIn, or we'll put a link to it in the newsletter as well and the show notes. So that'd be good.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, what we got next? Top 10 most overused cyber terms. So this was this was a comment on one of our YouTube videos. Dagman TV. He suggested we talk about the top 10 most overused cyber terms. Can you think of any? What would you like?
I mean, we did a little bit of research before, but I guess words like zero trust and next generation was one of them, or next gen AI. It's kind of hard to think of things, and a lot of them kind of are just cybersecurity terms. There's not much. I don't know if there's many that are overused, I would say, but I don't know if you have any that you think are overused.
Well, I know like the trends right now is like everyone's obviously talking about AI. So like every new tool, like we get it. You've got AI. You don't need to like tell us anymore. So, but for me, the one buzzword, the one overused term in cybersecurity that really, really gets me and I really, really don't like is human firewall. Like,
feels quite traditional and old, sort of old school, I think.
Yeah, it just kind of feels slightly like they're not a product. They're like people. Do you know what I mean? So it's it just feels a bit offensive in some ways. Like,
it's almost like you're relying on them.
Yes,
sort of forcing them to be the protection. It should be shared, I guess, more than anything.
Yeah, I think human firewall. What else? Shift left, all these fluffy kind of. I think I'm not a fan of fluffy corporate. I'm tired of hearing about who's in a magic quadrant as well. Like it doesn't mean anything to me. If a vendor is in like top right hand corner, like it doesn't mean for me. It doesn't mean you're the best fit for me. It just means that you might be unique in some ways, but I get more excited about looking at who's emerging or tearing new ground. I don't care about your Gartner Magic Quadrant. I know it means a lot for a lot of organizations and it gets you an invite, but I don't care. For me, it doesn't mean you're great. It just means you've made friends with the right people. Controversial. Oh. We might have to cut that. I tell you what, it'd be great to know what you think your top 10 most overused cyber terms are. If you're listening, please leave us comments, and maybe we'll put something on LinkedIn. It'd be really nice to know, and we can talk about that next week or the week after, what your top 10 most overused cyber terms are. Let us know. hello@riskycreative.com, or just comment where you can comment, wherever you're listening to this. Talking of terms, there was a message on the SANS forum. The SANS forum is a forum run by the security, the SANS, how do you describe who SANS are? SANS Institute. They're an educational and training security company, aren't they?
Yeah.
If anyone from SANS is listening, I'm really sorry. I know what you do. I'm just wondering how I describe you. It's a private US for-profit company that specializes in information security, cybersecurity training, and selling certificates. I think I would update your Wikipedia page if I was you. Can I buy a certificate, please? I
guess they're most well known for your training and the certifications, aren't they?
If you work in security awareness, the 433, all of that, SANS is your training company. Anyway, SANS have a forum. SANS have a forum for security awareness professionals. If you are a security awareness professional working in the field of security awareness, reach out to Lance. Lance can hook you up on the forum. Some really good conversations happen there. People ask all kinds of questions. Sonia asked a question on the SANS forum, asking about communication and clarity, really. She basically says, we inform our employees about different types of social engineering attacks, email phishing, smishing, vishing, quishing. Not everyone feels the need to distinguish between all the different ings. It's the alphabet of ishing. It's come back. We had that a while ago. What terminology resonates best with your employees? Do you find it more effective to stick with the umbrella term phishing and not get hung up on all the micro ings? What about social engineering? Does this terminology resonate with your employees, or do you just stick with phishing? So it's an interesting take on that. It's there's a couple of comments. Lance says that the key is focusing on the shared behaviours and indicators for all these different modalities of social engineering. Anything we do to make security simpler for people is a win. And then Louise says, we stick to phishing. We don't need them to be experts on the terminology. What do you think? What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, I think it's somewhat important to sort of distinguish, but in terms of phishing and vishing and smishing, they're kind of, at some point, they're almost self-explanatory, aren't they? When you're talking about a SMS phishing scam, and at the end of the day, they're all phishing, aren't they? Really? But yeah, I think it's important to sort of inform your people and give them the awareness of what certain words mean what, and things like business email compromise is an example. Obviously there's 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, maybe those kind of things you don't particularly need to specify. At the end of the day, again, it's all BEC. So
yeah, we've recorded a video on what is BEC some time ago that kind of went into that, and it's I think it's interesting. I think it's good that people know, but that's, I think the beauty of doing additional content on that is if someone wants to know more, they've got the opportunity to go and find more. But if people just engage with your newsletter, with your post, with your Slack post or whatever, there you need to keep it simple. And if they want to find out more, give them the opportunity to upskill.
Yeah, I think definitely keeping it brief and simple, and don't alienate them with all these terminologies that they probably won't understand. Yeah, a lot of it probably does need explaining. But
in a if you went to the Apple store, there'd just be, we sell Macs. That's all they would put in the window, right? We sell Macs. But then when you get in there, they're like, would you like a MacBook Air? Would you like a Mac Pro? Would you like a Mac Mini? Would you like you don't need to, I just want a Mac. Okay, you want a Mac. Okay, which one do you like? Keep it simple, get them in. If you want to buy a Mac, someone can go in and buy a Mac. But if someone wants to buy this very specific, unique Mac, that's an awful analogy. I've got to stop with the analogy. But you know what I mean. It's like, provide for both, I think.
Yeah.
For me,
interesting one.
Social engineering needs to be separate. I think phishing and social engineering can be two separate things.
Yeah.
Because I mean, are they? I don't. I'm saying that, and now I'm like, well, no, because I can't. Like, oh, someone could get a phone. Oh, right, that's phishing. But I think social engineering is quite strong on its own, and there's people. If you say phishing, people are like, what's that? If you say voice phishing, people are like, what's that? Socially engineered, I think, has kind of got an understanding. Like, it sounds intimidating. It sounds like something that would scare my mum. I'm socially engineering you. What do you mean? What are you doing to me? What? Yeah. You know, it's so there's an element of drama in it as well, and I think that's key. If you're using terms to describe security issues, then I think it's important that you do hook people in. So phishing is going to make people switch off, but socially engineering people, that sounds like something out of Hollywood. So that might get their attention more. So you've got to consider that as well. Does it market well is essentially what you need to look at.
I think as well, definitely defining and explaining what these terms mean if you do use them. I think, just putting the word phishing and that's it. Most people aren't going to have a clue what that is.
Maybe you need a glossary. Maybe there's a good kind of have a destination, a website that basically lists all of the different types of things that you can then bounce them out and refer them to.
One of the comments was that very thing. Can't find it now, but someone mentioned that they're working on like a cyber term glossary page for people to go and find out about, which would be a really good place to you could have some explanation, and if you've done your own content on it, you can then bounce out people to those different things. Yeah.
We did similar with a knowledge base, didn't we? And the great thing is it enables you to use different terms. You can use BC, you can use socially engineering, you can use phishing and wishing for WhatsApp phishing and all different kinds of things, emission for iMessage phishing. You can use all of these different things, but what you could do then is they act as keywords. So if anyone searches for any one of them, they get to a page on phishing, which kind of tells them everything they need to know. So use a keyword generator to come up with terms or something. That could be a good way to do it if you've got a knowledge base or, knowledge hub. Yeah, that could work. There was one last thing I wanted to ask this week, and that was communities. So in the UK, there's a community of awareness professionals that kind of cover London and the southeast. There's also one that covers the north, Manchester and Leeds, I think, as well. We'd love to know where there are communities, and maybe we can put together some kind of community map. So if you do look after a community in these areas, or you run one, or you're a part of one, let us know. And we'll try and put something together so other people in your area can maybe find out that they aren't the only one doing security awareness in Manchester or in Leeds or something. Our paths might not have crossed. So, yes, give us a shout, reach out to us, and we can put together a community map of awareness communities, and we can maybe link you up with other awareness professionals so you can brainstorm and bash some stuff about so you don't feel like you're all on your own.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think definitely could be a worldwide thing as well, obviously. There's got listeners all around the world, and especially, Costa Rica?
Costa Rica, yeah. Also doing well in Finland. So I might need to learn hello and goodbye in Costa Rican and Finnish. Yeah. Right. I think that's it for this week. Have you got anything? Was there anything extra you wanted to?
No, I don't think so. We can finish up.
Amazing. Okay. Well, a bit of a different one this week. Not lots of news, but I hope you found it interesting, talking more about the awareness stuff. Let us know if you did. Let us know what you like. If you don't like, if you want more news, tell us you want more news. If you want us to talk about awareness stuff all the time, we'd love to know. We're doing this for the community, so let us know what you want. Don't forget, if you're listening to this on podcast platforms, you can watch it on YouTube. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can listen to it on podcast platforms. And we have the newsletter. Sign up at riskycreative.com And the newsletter comes out every Monday, gives you an overview of what is discussed in every episode. We just want to make security awareness simple, relatable, and something you actually look forward to. I look forward to doing this podcast. Do you look forward to doing this podcast?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. It's been a lot of fun.
That's
We're on the 10th episode, so...
Because if you didn't, then it'd probably just be me next time. So no one wants that. Excellent. No. Right. Thanks, everyone. I will, Luke, see you next time.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Catch you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.